So here's the deal. This game is a trap. I haven't liked the feeling of this game ever since the schedule came out. Listen, I'm gonna consider this one a win if the Steelers get out of St. Louis without any major injuries. There are few things that I enjoy more in life than being right. But trust me, Steeler fans, I take no pleasure in being right about the thing that we've been grieving about for the last 5 days. Our quarterback, Big Ben Roethlisberger, sustained a major knee injury while taking a sack in last Sunday's victory against the St. Louis Rams. The Rams organization, along with a lot of other people, clearly don't watch this show, or else they would have heard me say, just go easy on them, please. You assholes. But there's no time to wallow in self-pity, Steeler fans. Tonight, we take on our most bitter rivals, the Baltimore Ravens, in like 20 minutes. Ben is out. Vick is in. Really? We're going with Mike Vick? Well, what's Charlie Batch up to? No time. First segment. I pretty much predicted everything to go wrong for the Steelers in the last game, but instead, the game was much more complex, starting with the pregame. I did not predict that the St. Louis Rams pyrotechnic staff would light its own field on fire. It delayed the opening kickoff 30 minutes while someone ran to Bed Bath & Beyond to get a new green rug to put on top of the old one that they burned a hole in. Another thing I predicted that did not take place is running back Todd Gurley's heroic fourth quarter game-winning touchdown run. Instead, they used Gurley gingerly, presumably trying to ease him into NFL action from his ACL injury that's prevented him from seeing any game time up until this matchup with the Steelers. Gurley finished with 9 yards on 6 rushing attempts. Think that sounds pathetic? Well, St. Louis Rams RB1 Trey Mason finished with only 9 yards on 16 rushing attempts. Seems like the Rams wanted in on some of that sweet, generous Steelers secondary action and were all about abandoning the run game in order to get some. Which brings me to the last thing I was wrong about last week. I predicted the St. Louis Rams offense to throw, score, and ultimately win the game against the Steelers, which they didn't. All this Big Ben injury nonsense aside, the Steelers' defense soared to the forefront of this game, holding the St. Louis Rams offense to under 300 yards, 6 total points, and 0 touchdowns. Most of all, they grinded out a gritty road win for your Pittsburgh Steelers, earning them a 2-1 record. Let's take a look at tonight's dumb game against the dumbest opponent of them all, the Baltimore Ravens. It's all going down tonight at 8:30 at Heinz Field. I hate that we're playing the Ravens tonight. Not just because the Ravens deserve every ounce of hate that my body could possibly conjure, but because doesn't it seem like the Ravens always get to play the Steelers without Big Ben Roethlisberger? Well, it feels that way because it's true. Now, you know I like to keep this show as non-researched as possible, so you can bet your bottom dollar I'm fired up about something when I type a question into Google and then talk about what I find. Tonight will be the 17th game that Ben Roethlisberger will have missed throughout his entire career. 7 of those games that he missed will have been against the Baltimore Ravens. 7! That's 41% of all the games that he's ever missed. In the process, the Ravens have been blessed with facing the formidable quintet of Tommy Maddox, Charlie Batch, Dennis Dixon, Byron Leftwich, and Michael Vick. The only victory in those 7 games coming when you're a good man Charlie Batch led the Pittsburgh Steelers to a 23-20 victory in Baltimore on December 2nd, 2012. So what does this mean for tonight? The Ravens are 0-3, on the brink of becoming irrelevant, playing on national TV against their bitter rivals without their starting quarterback. The Ravens smell blood. Plus, it's annoying how much we motivate the Baltimore Ravens. All these factors combined, expect to see a pretty mediocre Ravens team playing way over their head. Conventional wisdom would tell you that, as a backup quarterback, Michael Vick is probably going to keep this offense in the box. But the thing is that the Ravens' biggest weakness is their secondary. This means that offensive coordinator Todd Haley and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, with Michael Vick at the helm, will be taking chances downfield. They're just not always going to be pretty. Be on the lookout for trick plays, double passes, and Mike Vick just going for it, all of which are subject to completely blow up in our face. I say with the Steelers getting all ballsy and crafty, about half of these downfield attempts will end up okay. The other half, sacks and turnovers. Then there's the real X factor of this game. the penalties. Emotions always run high in this game, and it's kind of a toss-up of who will benefit the most from the penalty melee. Because the game is in Pittsburgh, I expect the officiating to fall in the Steelers' favor tonight. All of this will lead to a higher scoring affair than you might expect when you look at this matchup. The other reason the score will run high? Steve Smith Sr. This guy is terrifying. If you have him in your fantasy league, try and start him twice. I predict he and Flacco to unfortunately be lighting it up for at least 2 touchdowns tonight, and for me to be sitting in a pool of my own vomit after it happens. Final score, 35-24, Baltimore Ravens. But fear not, Steeler faithful. I don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will be a bad team without Ben Roethlisberger. I just hate tonight's matchup against their bitter, desperate rivals on a short week. If you want to see more self-loathing Pittsburgh fan, get at me on Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook and YouTube. I like to tweet things while the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing football, so that'll probably be happening tonight as well. Until then, peace!